First, open up the Visual Studio 2012. So I have the Visual Studio 11 beta on my machine. Okay. Now select the File, New, Project menu. On the left you see a category called Windows Metro Style. Once you select it, on the right you see a few templates. These templates are provided to help you build the apps quickly based on the style you are expecting. Blank application. A blank application is a single page project for a Windows Metro style app that has no predefined controls or layout. The grid application is a multi-page project for Metro style app that navigates among a group of items. Dedicated pages display group of item details. A split application is a two-page project for Windows Metro style app that navigates among grouped items. The first page allows group selection, while second displays an item list alongside the details of the selected item. This is a class library for Windows Metro style app or for runtime components. This is similar to other class library projects we have in Visual Studio. Once you create a class library, you can reference them in your projects. We also have a unit test library project that can hold unit tests. You can create this kind of project to test your Metro app or the class library. For this demo, select a blank application template and click OK. Now Visual Studio is creating a blank Metro style app project in the background. It may take some time. In the meanwhile, let us have a look at the Windows picture library on my computer. Okay. This is my picture library. As you see, there are many colorful pictures in this library. To map additional pictures to this library, you can just right click on the picture library and select properties. Here you can add pictures from the network storage or from different location within the same computer. So let me do that. Right click on this and select properties. I have mapped a folder called Palace Photos. I can remove it, or I can add additional folders by specifying it here. Okay. Here as you see, it is quite easy and you can do it in no time. This acts as a central repository for my photos. Now let us go back and create the Metro application which displays these thumbnails for this picture library. Okay. Now the first thing I'll do is delete the existing blank page which is created automatically. I'll open the Solution Explorer. I'll just right click on the blank page and delete it. It's getting deleted. It may take some time for the deleting. Yes, it is gone. Now right click on the project and select Add New Item. Now in this dialog, I'll select a basic page. The difference between a blank page which I deleted and this one is basic page is a layout aware and we get a back button and the page title with it. The blank page is just blank as it indicates and we will have to write everything. So select a blank page and click Add. A basic page has been added to the project now. It may take some time. Okay, the designer is loading. Okay, but we don't have to wait for anything. Open up the app.xaml.cs to set the page name to start when we run this application. So let me open the app.xaml.cs. Scroll down. Now it is still showing the blank page. As I deleted it, I can now make the new basic page 1 as the start page here. Let me change it. Okay. Let me save it, and that's it. Now if you just build your project, you must not see any errors. Let's try it now. The build has started. Okay, the build has been succeeded, as you can see here, and it works. Now the next thing is, let us enable the capability for this app to access pictures library. To do that, double click to open the file package.apex manifest. There is the solution explorer. I'll double click on this. It may take a few seconds to open this. Okay. Navigate to the capabilities tab. You see a list of capabilities here which your application can have. Say if your application accesses a camera to take pictures, you can just enable the webcam in the capability list here. For our demo, we will need to access the picture library, so we'll select the picture library as the capability. I'll save it, and now let us get back into the action. To display the pictures on the front end, we need a grid view which can actually have a stack panel which can display the image, thumbnail, and the name of the picture file. Let me define the basic structure for the grid to display the thumbnails and the file name. I'll first write the code and then explain it. Here we go. Okay. Added the basic template for the grid view. Now let me add an item template. Let me close this. And now we need to add the data template. Now within this data template, let us have a stack panel. If you have already worked on Silverlight, you may know what is a stack panel. I will give some height for this stack panel. And within this, we shall have a image control which can display the thumbnail, and we can have a text block which can display the file name. So to summarize, I have a grid view with the item template which contains a stack panel to display the image and text. The image control here is to display the thumbnail, and the text box is to display the file name. Coming to the code, let us first create a simple data model for a file. I'll create a class with two properties, one to hold the thumbnail and other to hold the file. So create a public class called mypic, and I'll have two properties, one to hold the file name and one more to hold the thumbnail. So for the thumbnail, I have a storage item thumbnail type, which I can set. Okay, now let us import the namespace for the storage item thumbnail. I do that, I select it, and it exists in the windows.storage.file properties. is a typo here. Okay, now this is perfect. Now we also need a observable collection for this data model class so that our user interface can use it. So let us add it here. So we'll add a observable collection for my pick, and I will give a name as my picks. So let us import the namespace for this as well. System.collections.object model. Okay, and now we have the observable collection. We need to instantiate. So the code becomes mypicks equals new observable collection of mypick. Because this is a collection, I'll add the rounded brackets. Now we shall also set this collection as the data context for this page by using the default view model property with a key. So let me add that here. Default view model, and I will give the name of the key as photo collection, and I will assign the mypicks to it. Now we should populate the observable collection we just created. As I discussed in the demo, first we shall get the reference of the root picture library from the known folder. So it becomes okay. So let me import the namespace for this as well. This exists in the windows.storage. Yes. Now in order to loop through the picture library and get the thumbnails and the file name in asynchronous way, let us create a method by name getDataAsync. So I'll do it. Now let us get the items inside this folder. So for doing that, we'll write the code where items equals folder dot get items async. As the get items async retrieves the items asynchronously, we shall use the await keyword here. So let me add the await keyword. So I'll remove this. I'll add the async and task. I think we may need to import the namespace for the task. Threading.tasks. Okay. Now this is perfect. Now we shall make our application to call this method. So here get data async of peak library. Once again, as we are executing this in asynchronous, we shall mark it with the keywords for await and async. Actually, the introduction to async and await keywords helps you in such a way like you don't have to write the callbacks and manually do the stuff. Now coming back, we shall loop through the items to see if there are any folders inside, and in that case we can actually recursively call the same method, and if the selected item is a file, we shall populate the file into the collection. So let me write the code for that. I'll loop through these items. Okay. If the item is of type a folder, then I'll recursively call this method asynchronously. This should be very simple to do. And if it is a file, I'll declare it. And now the important thing is we need to generate the thumbnail for this. So it will be thumbnail equals await get thumbnail in async. Okay, and let me pass thumbnail mode as pictures view, because we need to get the thumbnails of a picture in this case. And I need to add this into my main collection for the binding. So it becomes mypics dot add okay. It should be the storage types. Actually, I'll change it to storage item types dot folder. Okay. Okay. Now, knowing that we have a image control in the XAML to display the above thumbnail, we need to write a converter to convert this thumbnail to make it display in the UI. So create a class by name thumbnail converter. So let me do it now. I'll add a new class. And I'll name it as thumbnail converter. I'll click add. The class is getting added. Let me copy some existing code and explain it instead of typing everything. So I'll just paste the code which I have already, and I'll make this namespace change to application 9, as application 9 is the namespace for this. Okay. Now we have a class called thumbnail converter, which implements the iValue converter interface. In general, if you want to associate a value converter with a binding, you should create a class that implements the iValue converter interface and then implement the convert and convert back methods. Converters can change data from one type to another, translate data based on cultural information, or it can also modify other aspects of your presentation. Value converters are culture aware. Both the convert and convert back methods have a culture parameter that indicates the cultural information. If cultural information is irrelevant to the conversion, then you can ignore that parameter in your custom converter. Actually, the convert and convert back methods also have a parameter called parameter here, so that you can use the same instance of the converter with different parameters. For example, you can write a formatting converter that produces different formats of data based on the input parameter that you are using. You can use the converter parameter of a binding class to pass a parameter as an argument into the convert or convert back methods. In this case, I am converting the thumbnail stream to a bitmap image so that it can be displayed in the image control that we have in our XAML. In case if the convert methods receives a null value, instead of returning the same, I am returning the unset value. The unset value specifies a static value that is used by the property system rather than a null to indicate that a property exists, but also does not have its value set by the property system. So let us save the thumbnail converter.cs now. Okay. We are almost done now with the presentation. We just have to bind the collection to the user interface. So open the XAML. Save this as well before. Okay. We shall first add a resource for the thumbnail converter we just created. So we can do that by going here, by adding it. Local thumbnail converter. We give a key. Let me save it. Okay. And now we shall slightly modify the grid to add a item source property for the binding. So I will do that here. I will add a item source. And I will set the binding to photo collection. If you remember, the name of the key for the default view model is the photo collection, which I provided some time back. And we shall set the source for the image. You can do that by specifying image source equals binding thumbnail property, and I lose a converter from a static resource. Thumbnail converter. And for the text block, I'll set the text property. I'll bind it with the property file name. So remember, the thumbnail and file name are the name of two properties in the class which we created earlier. We need to provide a width for the thumbnail, so let us provide a width for this thumbnail. I will add width property and will give us 200. Also we can provide a margin for the text block to make it appear good. So I'll do that by providing a margin. It can be 0, 10, 0, 0, something. So that's all. Now let us build the code to see if that works. I'm trying to open the thumbnail converter.cs to make sure everything is set. Yes, let us go and build it. Looks like it should work. The build is happening. Okay, the build got succeeded. Now let us try to run to see the output. So actually we can use a simulator or we can run this Metro app on the local machine. For this demo purpose, I'll try to run it on the local machine itself. Let me click on this. like there is some problem with it. The images are not getting displayed. So let us try to investigate what's the problem. We shall verify the name of the properties and other things. So we got time to do some debugging now. Okay, first I'll stop this Metro application. I'll hit Alt F4 and I'll go back to my code and let me stop the code running, and I'll open up the basic page 1.xaml now to verify the properties for the binding. And we can see for the image we have a binding for thumbnail, which is correct, and for the text block we have a binding for the file name, and this turns to be right. Once again, let me go to the code and verify the names here. So the file name property is right, and for the storage item thumbnail we have a property. Okay, it turns out there was a typo here, so let me delete it. An additional A was here. I'll rename the thumbnail, and hopefully this time it should run. Let me try once again. Okay, you see a splash screen. The Metro application is getting loaded, and okay, the Metro application is loaded now. You see all the images from the picture library. Let me show it here. The pictures are loaded asynchronously so that there will not be any distraction for the user when using the Metro application. So as you can see, it is quite easy to work with files and folders in Metro applications. So I hope you were able to understand the key concepts in this video. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day.